Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Behind the Mission. I'm your host, Srimati Sridhar. Now, today we're going to be talking about the Young Professionals Program, popularly known as the YPP. We have some updates on how we're virtually adapting the recruitment process in the current moment we're in. Now, the World Bank Group is monitoring the developments of COVID-19 as we continue to recruit and develop future leaders to work across our institutions and help us in our mission to alleviate poverty. Now, you'll know more about this in a bit as colleagues from the YPP join me, but before we jump in, here's a glimpse of what it's like to be a young professional at the World Bank Group.
My name is Bobin Paul.
My name is Elwin Davis.
Özgül Çalıcıoğlu.
Mahmoud Nangalim Bari.
My name is Yan Chao Li.
And I am an economist.
An environmental engineer.
Financial sector specialist.
In the Young Professionals Program.
In the Young Professionals Program.
Now, you can find more information about the Young Professionals Program by going to our website. It is worldbank.org/YPP. Now, to tell us more about the program and how you can start an exciting career at the World Bank Group, joining me today are Ya Openg, Adrian Torres, and Marie-Christine Ama. Now, as you think about questions for our guests, let me give you some background about them. Now, Ya is a senior social development specialist and the current program manager of the World Bank's Young Professionals Program. She has worked for over 15 years in the MENA, LAC, and Africa regions, focusing on the World Bank's social safeguards and standards, and in promoting gender and disability inclusion in bank finance projects. Ya is also a former young professional, and she was part of the 2003 YP cohort. Now, Marie-Christine is originally from Togo and is a young professional at the World Bank based in Washington, D.C. She joined the bank in September of last year from Stanford University, where she was leading the Transparency, Accountability, and Citizen Engagement TRACE initiative for Francophone West Africa as a postdoctoral research fellow. Marie-Christine is passionate about policy-oriented research and impact evaluations, and she holds a PhD in development economics and a master's degree in macroeconomics and growth, both from Aix-Marseille University. Now, last but not least, Adrian joined the International Finance Corporation, or IFC, in 2017 through the Young Professionals Program. Now, he's currently based in Singapore as an Associate Investment Officer with the Mass Manufacturing, Agribusiness, and Services Asia team. Now, Adrian was previously stationed in Washington, D.C., working across different sectors with an equity product focus. He has a master's degree in finance, and he's originally from the Philippines. So, colleagues, welcome. It's great to have you here with us, and let's dive right in. Now, Ya, I want to throw the first question over to you. I heard that there are some updates on the program this year. So can you tell us more about that and how we're innovating our recruitment process because of COVID-19?
Thank you very much, Sri. Yes, today we are really excited. We're actually launching the first ever World Bank Group Young Professionals Program. And essentially, we've taken the World Bank and the IFC existing YP programs, we've merged with MEGA, and we're accepting applications now through the month of June. We've really built a new program to really foster collaboration across the World Bank Group and to build the cadre of leaders who can help us with our challenges, development challenges of the day. In terms of the program, it's a 2-year program with a 5-year contract. And it's characterized by a number of really exciting pieces. One of them is rotations. YPs joining through this joint World Bank Group Young Professionals Program should expect to rotate. Rotations are mandatory. YPs will rotate both within the institution in which they originally land and across the institution. Another piece that's very interesting and exciting about the program is that YPs should also expect to rotate to assignments in our country offices, in our field offices. And we're increasingly putting an emphasis on our work in fragile and conflict-afflicted countries. And some YPs joining through this joint program should also expect to contribute to the FCV agenda. Now, YPs will begin as a cohort in Washington, and then the rotations may take you to a field office. But as you say, COVID has really changed the way we're doing business. And I think one thing to highlight is that in the past, interviews for the YP program were face-to-face. We had face-to-face interviews. And it's clear in the current global context that we're going to have to move our interviews to a virtual platform. So the next cycle of interviews are more than likely going to be virtual. Thank you, Shri.
Great, yeah. And let's go over some of the eligibility requirements of the program. Now tell me who can apply and what's the timeline for the application process?
Certainly. I think one thing to underscore is that we're really looking for young professionals who have a passion for international development. Who have strong academic credentials, obviously, relevant to the fields of study that we're looking to recruit for, and who have relevant professional experience. We're also looking for young professionals with leadership potential. Now, just to be more specific, there is an age criteria. It's a young professionals program with an age criteria, and you have to be 32 years of age or younger, and specifically born on or after October the 1st, 1988. You have to have a master's degree or a doctoral degree, specialized in one of our fields of interest. Now, I want to underscore that we really do hire for a very, very broad range of profiles and a really broad range of expertise. So please do look at our website and look at the kinds of profiles that we're looking to recruit for. We're also looking for candidates who are fluent in English. For additional information on the requirements for master's degrees and doctoral degrees and the number of years of experience, which actually varies a little bit by institution, it's 3 or 4 years depending on the institution you apply for, do take a look at our website and our brochure, which is pinned to the top of the website, as Shri just mentioned. In terms of the timeline, as I mentioned, the application is now live for the month of June. We're accepting applications. We're really excited to have launched our new flagship joint merged program today. So for the month of June, we're accepting applications, and then through July and September, we'll be longlisting. We'll be looking to identify candidates who meet our basic criteria. Thereafter, we'll be shortlisting and doing some internal reviews and technical reviews, and that should take us really to the month of November and December. In November and December, we'll call candidates for interview, and then offers are made in the December through February period, with YPs joining the following September. Thank you, Shri.
Perfect. Yeah, it's certainly very exciting. Now, folks, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Behind the Mission, and we're talking about the World Bank Group's Young Professionals Program, or YPP. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to take this moment to say hi to a few people online from across the globe. We have got Gertrude from the Netherlands, Melita from Italy, Michael from Zambia, Marlene from Jamaica, Irv from Cameroon, Usman from Pakistan, Madendrick from Haiti, and Liz from the Philippines. So hi guys, it's great to have you here with us. So far the World Bank Group's YPP program manager Ya Opung has discussed updates on the program and details of the eligibility requirements. Now you can find all this information on our website. It is worldbank.org/YPP. And now who better to tell us what it's like to be in the program than our young professionals themselves. So Adrian and Marie-Christine, let's go over to you now. I want to ask you both, what are the key opportunities that you see by applying for the YPP? And in what ways has the program helped you? Adrian, let's start with you. Adrian, I think you need to go off mute.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. So for me, it really boils down to two main advantages, and it's basically mobility and reach. So mobility in the sense that it's a rotational program, and so given the nature of the program, you should have the opportunity to move in terms of geography, office location, different departments, sector teams, and as was mentioned earlier, across the World Bank Group, across the different institutions of the World Bank Group. The other advantage I'd mentioned is reach, and reach in terms of making a lot of touch points within the organization within a relatively short span of time, within the 2 years for which the program's running, and as well as being able to build a wide network within a short span of time, given that you'll be working with many different teams, different projects in a short time frame. And last but not the least, in terms of the meaningful work, the important work that you'll be doing, and the global reach that the World Bank will be able to give you, the impact that you'll be able to make on a global basis, given the worldwide reach of the World Bank.
Perfect. And what about you, Marie-Christine? What are the key opportunities that you see?
Thank you, Sri. I think, Adrian says it all, but I'll just add one point, and it's related to how the working at the World Bank just broadened my horizon. Adrian mentioned that, yes, it's a global bank. So compared to a regional bank, you have the opportunity to work all over the globe. And you have colleagues that are also coming from all over the globe. So as a cohort in the YP, we are we are together all the time. We talk a lot together. We are a group of friends. And then you have the other colleagues who are not YPs that we interact with a lot. So this gives you an idea of what other people from other cultures, from other countries are like. It's like traveling, working at the bank is like traveling, even if you're not traveling, it can be very refreshing these days. So that would be the main point that I would like to add to what Adrian just said. Thank you.
Perfect. So now I want to ask you both a specific question about the application itself, which has a short essay. Now, do you remember yours, and what tips can you give applicants about it? Let's start with you, Marie-Christine.
Yes, thank you very much. I do remember my essay. It was very challenging to write it and be able to bring in my passion to work in development, and also how my technical skills can contribute to that. So I have two main advice. The first one is don't worry about getting too personal. I think it's important to convey that your passion comes from something that's very deep. For me, it was being born in a developing country. I was born in Togo. I was raised there. So I experienced things that helped me or that motivated me and went into work in development. So that's my first point. The second point is related to how you're conveying your technical expertise. You don't know who is going to read your essay. So you don't want to get too technical so as to lose people who do not share the same technical expertise. So you need to be able to bring those two together, but in a way that will be easy, a very nice flow for people to understand, and also just kind of know who you are and why you can matter and why you can add to the mission of the World Bank. Thank you.
Great. And now let's go over to you, Adrian. What are your tips?
Right. So I think Marie-Christine's summed it up quite nicely. But if there's one thing that I'm just going to add, I think I would suggest using the exercise of writing your essay as an opportunity to really reflect and really sort of ask yourself if this is really what you want to do with your life, and the reasons behind it, the why behind it, and to be honest with yourself in terms of what your motivations are, what your reasons are for wanting to work in development. And once you've answered that, to make sure that you really let your passion for working in development come through in your essay.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for answering those questions. Folks, now for this part of the program, we do want to read out some common myths about the Young Professionals program. Now, Marie-Christine, and Adrian, any one of you can briefly react to these. So let's get started with myth number 1, which is young professionals are recruited from a handful of elite schools. Who would like to take that one?
I'll jump in here. That's absolutely not the case. It really is a merit-based application process, and candidates are hired from all over the world. So that's definitely a myth that we need to bust. Thank you.
That is good to know. Let's go straight to myth number 2. The World Bank Group YPP recruits from a select group of countries. Who would like to take that one?
I'll jump in again if you don't mind. Thank you, Shri. It's really a global recruitment for a global institution. And we really do hire from all over the world, and we really pride ourselves in the diversity of our nationalities who join us. If I can just reflect briefly, if we look at the IBRD side for one of our recent incoming cohorts, out of 39 YPs, 27 different countries were represented. And on the IFC side, out of 11 different countries. So no, it's a national global recruitment process, and it's not as though we're looking to recruit from a narrow group of countries. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Now, myth number 3, World Bank YPs all have PhDs in economics. Who wants to take that one?
No, I'd be happy to take that. So, I mean, I myself don't have a PhD in economics, so I did a master's in finance. And over the IFC side, we're a relatively smaller cohort than our friends in IBRD. And within our cohort, yeah, there were a mix of different disciplines. Those with a master's in business, international development, public policy. So again, it's really from a much wider range of disciplines.
Shri, if I could just add to that,
Absolutely.
to say that, just to again underscore, we're looking for such a broad range of academic disciplines. I myself joined with a PhD in social anthropology. My background is in geography and social anthropology. So just to say, it's not all economists by any means.
Great.
And Shri, if I can just wrap that question
Yes,
up.
please do.
Yes, I mean, I do have a PhD in economics, so I'm probably not the person people want to listen to, but I do have friends in my cohort who do not have a PhD in economics, who do not have a master in economics either. I have, for instance, a friend from Guinea who is a financial sector specialist who has a master in banking, and he's excellent at his work. I also have another friend who is who is an engineer in energy. So it really doesn't matter if you have the PhD in economics. You just have to prove expertise in your field and experience as well.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Now on to myth number 4, which is prior bank experience is mandatory.
I am happy to take that one as well.
Okay.
Because I've never worked at the bank before joining the YP, and I've never worked on any bank-related project with any bank person before. So the working at the World Bank was a completely new experience for me. So I don't think that should discourage people to apply to the YP program. I think the program will just evaluate you for who you are and what you have done so far.
That's great. And on to myth number 5, candidates who have applied before are less likely to be selected. Who wants to take that one?
I can go.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so I have applied to the program twice, and I got in the second time. So I really think so I applied the first time when I was finishing my PhD, and then I gained a little bit more experience, and then I applied again. So I think it's important not to see one failure as if, you're never going to get in the program. But in the meantime, I mean, you grow, you develop your technical expertise, and then you reapply again. You have absolutely nothing to lose by applying twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I've heard of people who've applied 7 times. So as long as you can and you're eligible, you should continue applying, because it's a huge opportunity that you won't want to miss if you can get it.
If I could just add, absolutely, to underscore what Marie-Christine said, it's absolutely the case that in any given year we see candidates who've applied multiple times, and we're recently welcoming somebody actually who applied 4 times. So just to underscore, this is absolutely the case. I also joined as a young professional, and I applied 2, I think maybe even 3 times back in the day. And it really is about the experience. It's about gaining that relevant experience and broadening your horizons. So go for it. Don't be put off if the first time doesn't work.
Wonderful. And now we are on to our last myth, which is that the IFC is only looking for finance professionals.
So yeah, I'm happy to take that as well. Right. So I mean, I myself am a finance professional, but within my cohort, it's a pretty broad set. We have people from management consulting backgrounds, from industry as well, and so yeah, definitely not a requirement to have a finance background. IFC is also looking for people that are interested in global investment and doing upstream work and creating projects from scratch, which would entail some industry expertise.
Great. Well, guys, thank you so much for doing that. It was good to bust some of these myths, and we hope that those of you tuning in now have some more information about the program. I do want to take it back over to you now. can you tell us a little bit more about the specific paragraph that can be found on the website? Now, it reads, "We welcome all qualified individuals from diverse professional, academic, and cultural backgrounds to apply. Sub-Saharan African nationals, Caribbean nationals, women, and persons with disabilities are strongly encouraged to apply." So can you explain this some more?
Yes, certainly, Shri. So we are a truly global recruitment for the YPP program, for a truly global institution. And we really pride ourselves in that diversity, and the diversity at the bank really is our strength. But it is the case that we find that some groups, some populations sometimes are underrepresented, or we want to make sure that we boost the number of candidates from those countries so that the institution continues to be as diverse as it can be. So the groups that you mentioned, it's absolutely the case that we really particularly welcome applications from them. We want to make sure that the YP program reflects the diversity that we want to see in the broader bank. And just to say a couple of words, we're really working really hard to make sure that the program in particular is really welcoming of and accessible to qualified candidates with disabilities. So that paragraph is a strong one. We put it there for a reason. We really do want to encourage everybody to apply, and we want to make sure that the program, like the bank, is truly represented and representative of all groups. Thank you, Shri.
That's fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Now, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Behind the Mission, where we're talking about the World Bank Group's Young Professionals Program, or YPP. Now, I want to thank you again so much for joining us from around the world. And at this moment, we have Nida from Kashmir, Zawu from Liberia, Zaniabek from Kyrgyzstan, Jean from Senegal, Hanan from Morocco, Danielle from Ghana, Emilio from Nicaragua, Champion from Afghanistan, and Pa from Vietnam. So it is wonderful to see all of you, and we hope you're enjoying the program so far. Adrian and Marie-Christine, I do want to now go back to you both. Earlier you shared a little bit about the short essay. Now, let's say that one makes the shortlist and is preparing for the interview. What advice would you give? I mean, looking back on your own interview, would you have done anything differently? Adrian, let's start with you.
Sure. Yeah. So looking back at my experience, I think the one thing I would have done differently is I would have started preparing for my interview much earlier. So if I could do it all over again, I would have started preparing for my interview as I was writing out my application. I know it sounds a bit neurotic, but the World Bank Group is a large group of institutions, right? And there's just such a breadth and depth of roles and different jobs that you can take on, and it's really important to do your homework and really to look into what the bank has to offer, what interests it caters to, and whether these apply to you. In the same way, I would start networking with people in the organization early as well, and really try to find out what the day-to-day life is like at the bank, what to expect, and to show to make it come out in your interview, to make your interest come to the surface, to really demonstrate that you've done your homework. In the same way, I think I would another tip that I would share would be to really internalize your story of why you want to do this, and your whole thrust for wanting to do development work. And don't be shy about sharing your story, and make sure you share it well.
Thanks, Adrian. Those are some great tips. Let's go over to you now, Marie-Christine.
Thank you, Shri. I think for me, I just have one advice, and Adrian mentioned the word, it's the breadth of knowledge. So one of the main things that I learned from this interview is that you're going to be asked unexpected questions, for sure, and there are going to be technical questions. For instance, in my interview, I got 20 minutes of discussion on cash transfers. I've never worked on cash transfers before. I don't know. I'm not an expert in cash transfers, but I've read about it. I've been to seminars. I've been curious about it, and that helped me address this question. And one thing that was also important during this whole discussion was the fact that I was able, I think, to bring in a logical line of thought. So this is something that you need to practice. You need to practice a way to answer questions. You can ask your friend to, ask you random question about things that they're working on that you have absolutely no idea about. And try to practice how you will address those and how you can bring what you already know into this, and get curious about what the bank does, get curious about the world, get curious about other subjects that have nothing to do with you. The World Bank is a collaborative environment, so you need to be able to prove that you can collaborate with people who don't have your technical expertise. Thank you.
And that is some great advice. Thank you again both so much. I want to now throw the last question over to you. Now, through the YPP, the World Bank Group has hired some of the brightest young minds for over 50 years. So what would you say is unique about this program, and how do you think it will support the bank's crucial work in helping developing countries become more resilient and also recover from crises like the COVID-19 pandemic?
Absolutely. Thank you, Shri. Well, I think it's now more imperative than ever that we hire and find candidates who, to use Marie-Christine's excellent word, are curious, who can think outside of the box, and who can make connections. Because I think the brilliant thing about the new program that we're launching today is that it's all about collaboration across the institution to find the solutions that we need to the pressing challenges of today. There could be private sector solutions, there could be public sector solutions, but working collaboratively across the World Bank Group, I think, is how we'll get to address those important challenges. So thank you, Shri.
And thank you, with that, folks, we are unfortunately out of time. I want to thank again my guests for this morning, Marie-Christine, and Adrian, for taking the time to be with us here today. And I want to thank you, our online audience, for joining us. Now, again, applications for the YPP start today, June 1st, and you can find all that information and more on our website. It is worldbank.org/YPP. So head on over and see how you can apply today. Now you can continue getting updates online using our hashtag BehindTheMissionWBG. And for other World Bank Live events, go to live.worldbank.org. Thank you again so much for joining us this morning. I'm Srimati Sridhar, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.